is close to the weekend. I'm David Solomon. He, doing that, is Stuart Brisgell, and he is back. And he has, I gotta tell you, today's rant is thanks to him. Let's get to the second here. If you're new to the Rant Network, and many of you are, we want to welcome you. As I said, he's Stuart Brisgell, I'm David Solomon, and we bring you unfiltered, uncensored conversations on a wide range of topics. And you'll notice it today because our podcast is dedicated to giving you a platform to express your opinions, share your thoughts, experiences, and ideas, and hear from your perspectives and honest opinions. Join us as we dive into the latest news, pop culture, politics, customer service, and so much more. From rants about the absurdity of modern life, and we'll get into that today, to discussions about the deeper issues that are affecting us on our day-to-day basis. The Rant Network, ladies and gentlemen, has you covered. Sit back, relax, join us on this journey, discovery, and exploration. And what are we talking about today? It's just simple. The airlines in North America during Christmas had, for the lack of a better term, let's call it a shit show from hell. Cancellations come from weather, delays, attitudes, what have you. And all the airlines keep saying is, we're short-staffed, we're short-staffed, we're short-staffed, we're short-staffed. There are cancellations. People spend their hard-earned money. They collect points, yeah, and you're going to say people are spoiled, yeah. But you know what? People are working very hard, and when they finally get a chance to go on vacation, the last thing you want is for the airlines to screw it up for you in any way, shape, or form. Now, unfortunately, the customer service side from the airlines has been so bad that people have just turned a blind eye. But Stuart, he's got a story to share with us today that might give us a modicum of hope.
David, thanks. And, unlike most of our broadcasts that are, everyone complains that maybe we're a little too political biased, this has nothing to do with a political bias. I have taken the time over the years to write letters when something doesn't go extraordinarily right when it should. And I have been very successful articulating my feeling in a very calm and cool demeanor, which is hard for many of you to believe. And again, this is a guide for any of you to sit back and relax and maybe have a new strategy, because this strategy clearly worked today. But there's a real story behind the strategy. Flying David is atrocious. Yes, I flew American Airlines to Colorado. And the flight out was absolutely magnificent, perfect, flawless gate, flawless flight, great stewardesses. I got to tell you, there was absolutely nothing to say negative about flying unless you really don't mind the price. But other than that, it was fabulous. I went, had a great time in Colorado, came back, David, and got boarded a plane to find something very differently. This flight, which was AA 2421 on the 27th of February at 1:48 p.m., was a crew, instead of the first crew being based out of Florida, this crew was based out of Chicago, Illinois. And let me tell you something. We all know Chicago as being a very liberal city, a very liberal state, Illinois. But you would never think that people that are in control, like a stewardess, would be so vocal and so toxic working for American Airlines on a plane where the safety and security of, in this plane, 230 passengers, by someone who is an absolute nutcase. Yep, nutcase. So, listen, I got political bias. But if I'm exercising control over people, like people do in law enforcement, like people do on airlines, and eject people, incarcerate people, delay people, have that control, they need to have a little bit of extra attention to detail and couth, right? This woman, who will remain nameless because I don't want to out her that way, but the airlines already know. I decided to write a letter to American Airlines. You wonder what happened, Stuart. What did she do? Well, the first thing is I have an issue. I drink a lot of water. She refused to give me water. Why? Sir, we have turbulence. I said, so just give me a bottle of water. No, sir, can't give you a bottle of water, but I really need water. And she says, well, I'm sorry, I can't give you water. Well, that sounds crazy, but that's not where it started. That's where it ended up, denying me service of a basic right on an airline. But you would say, Stuart, what did you do to cause her to deny you? Well, I did absolutely nothing. Boarded the plane with my wife, sat down, and she started telling me, oh, Florida, did you hear the latest about Santos in New York? I'm a Jew, and that bastard lied about being a Jew, and he's a lying sack of shit, and that Republican Party of theirs, they need to go and do this, on and on and on and on and on. Okay. Obviously, this lady is definitely not a Republican card member, definitely a very liberal card member, and definitely very vocal and very aggravated. Now, instead of me commenting saying, listen, I don't agree, this and I agree, I said, wow, I'm sorry you have such a strong opinion about a political official. It doesn't sound like they exercised good judgment, and that there should be probably some ramifications. So she looks me square in the face going, you're a fucking Republican. I said, dear, it doesn't matter if I'm a liberal or a conservative. I think that if someone lies, misrepresents as another Jew and says he's Jewish and he's clearly not, all right, needs to be dealt with. But this is a woman who's been given the power to throw me off the plane before we take off. Right? She has the power to remove my wife and I from returning home. She has the right to have me picked up when I get back because I'm an unruly passenger that has a political opinion unlike hers. So I got really upset and kept my mouth shut. David, do you believe me?
Rarely, but yeah.
My wife was applauding me that I said absolutely nothing. I was utterly, and after she denied me water, I still remained silent. My wife actually said, should I get up and say something? I said, no. So I got back into town, David, and I told you, remember? I said, I'm going to send an email to Caroline Truegrove, Doug Parker, Sean Bentel, Robert Issam, which are basically the CEO, president, vice president of American Airlines. I also send it to shareholder services. How do you find these emails? You can Google them. You can figure out their emails really easy. And I wrote a letter that starts, I am writing to express my disappointment with the experience I had on a recent flight with American Airlines. Despite my expectations of comfort and safe flight, I encountered several issues that left me dissatisfied, concerned about the standards of service by your airlines. A very nice romantic letter, calmly, articulately saying what the problems were. Right? This is something that I have done to Dell. I've done it to various other companies. But American Airlines responded very quickly. Here's 2,500 airline points. They did that 2 days ago. Right? And then finally, overnight, I get a letter from Chris Rollins from Customer Relations, who gives us two $400 credits back, which is about what the one-way fare is. What is the point of all of this? The point is that to sit there, take it, and do nothing, you're lamb and sheep. And that's the most important lesson that I'm trying to convey to everyone. The answer isn't yelling and screaming on the top of your lungs. The answer isn't getting angry. The answer is to write a letter, articulate your point to all the people with the power of the person decision. Record the event calmly, quietly, nicely, and then expose the problem. Two things are going to happen. You're either going to get a letter saying, thank you for your comments, go screw yourself. Or in this case, you're going to get a response that says, we really appreciate your time. Here is your credit back so you can fly with us again and have a nice day. Now, what is, again, the point of all of this? Is it to send letters to every company you ever fly? No. It's to reserve the right for an opportunity that where something goes so wrong, don't get angry. Don't get mad. Don't try and get even. Write a letter, and if the letter doesn't garner any response that you feel is necessary, then let us know. Reach out to us. The power of the media rules. David, you look like you're frustrated.
No, I'm not frustrated, sir. I'm just listening here, and I'm just going, Stuart, I think that the point that you made was really good, but I think there's another point. American Airlines, you did it with the right tone. It wasn't a crap on somebody. You didn't swear. You weren't in an angry, obnoxious, arrogant, spoiled mindset, which we hear too much from folks on certain beliefs. And when you act like and the word is mensch, and there's no English real word for this word, but it's like you would act like a proper human being, then you should hope to be reciprocated in kind with that kind of treatment. Unfortunately, that's not the way the world works. People today feel that customers are always right regardless. They can yell, scream, holler, bitch, complain, threaten ad nauseum, and you have to just give in. Well, congratulations. I brought up American Airlines. It kind of, reset my faith a little bit in that airline, not like the other airlines where we have sent letters and they kind of said, well, here's a $25, voucher to the lounge or whatever, something silly. And really, it's the airlines better wake up, And I mean, listen, the message is great. You're allowed to express yourself, be respectful, and hopefully the person on the other side understands and respects you for the way you handled it, and things will go right.
But the irony is, if I would have gone in and fed her more about you're right about Santos, you're right, this woman would have become unhinged about how bad, and she would have gone on and on and on. And if I would have gone any further by trying to say, hey, let's not, it would have been disastrous.
So to me, just the whole thing, once upon a time, you could talk politics and religion in the workplace. And okay. Today, you can't do that. Someone's going to misunderstand it. Someone's going to exaggerate it. Someone's going to ruin it. And everybody is going to be frustrated. And Stuart, frankly, I'm going to tell you, I've dealt with it myself on a personal level. People are just, politics and religion, and you'll see there are other things that, are just, if you talk about it in the workplace, it doesn't really go well. And this person, this flight attendant, look, you're dealing with people. And to tell me that people who fly American Airlines are only liberals or Democrats, and then you're basically on a Jon Stewart show or that's not what the airline is. The airline is mixed with people of different faiths, cultures, religions, political inclinations, and so on and so forth. If you're going to rip one party the way you did, you deserve not only, kudos to you for not tearing her apart, but I do hope that the airline actually sits her down and says, you don't do that. This is not the way it works. You have your own personal job. Deal with it at home.
I guess Disney and American Express, as we talked about in previous rants that went woke on steroids, maybe there's hope at the shareholders office and in the executive office, unlike Starbucks, Disney, as I said, and American Express. And they realize that the average American doesn't want this agenda. They don't want to deal with the nonsense. And Dave, we're reaching the end of the week. It's the end of a great, onto the third year. Do we have anything more that you want to add before we call it off?
There's nothing more to add. I think you have said more than enough today. So, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we're going to wrap it all up today. That's it. Thanks for tuning in to our Rant Network, and we hope that you enjoyed the conversation. And even though it was not as heavy duty as we usually are, hopefully you come away with this with a little bit of an insight about human relationships, basically, customer service and all. We appreciate all your support, folks, and hope you'll join us again next time for more thought-provoking conversations. We're always on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. And so in the meantime, follow us on social media. Share your thoughts with us. Remember, we're always interested in hearing from you and learning about the topics that matter most. Ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Thanks again for listening. Keep on ranting.